Hey guys, Matt here from Six Stages Gaming, ready to talk to you about an awesome new card game that's coming out this fall, Dragoborne Rise to Supremacy. Now, a lot of you are thinking, what is going on? I want my Final Fantasy content. Don't worry. If you're one of the normal Final Fantasy subscribers, you can just ignore this weekend worth of videos. I would recommend checking them out if you want to learn a new game or if you ever played Kaijudo, because it reminds me a lot about that. But we will be teaming up with Zeege Games of Howell, Michigan to be bringing you a new channel for exclusive Dragoborne content. So don't worry, we're just going to fill a little bit of time with some videos from now until then. The shop's moving, the guy gets some new stuff set up, and then we're going to have some live games as well. So bear with us, give us some time, and we're going to get all that set up. But look, I just want to make a quick video, talk to you about some informational stuff, and hopefully get you excited for the game that, honestly, I have a Kaijudo background, so I might be a little bit biased, but as you'll see on the next slide, there's a pretty big deal who's working on it, and it's absolutely reasons to get pumped. So really quick, what do you need to know if you want to pick up this game? Trial decks, those three down there, come out August 4th, and then the booster will be launching at Gen Con. So if you're going to Gen Con, if you want to learn how to play this game, please reach out to me, reach out to Six Stages Gaming. We will be more than happy to demo you this game so you don't have to, spend your money, get the trial decks, find out you don't like it. Hit us up, we'll be happy to do that. And then lastly, the booster set comes out Gen Con. It's going to be hype. So let's get into it and let's see why you should care about this new game. So first off, what is it? Obviously, it's a two-player game, 1 versus 1. There's all the story there, but the thing I want to talk about is that there's going to be dice that are involved. Now, the object of the game is you have these 3 different lanes. Each lane has 2 forts. You break then all 6 forts, you win. So if you played Kaijudo, you played Duel Masters, you're very familiar with that system. But I know you're thinking, man, why dice? Why do you got to say that? I know a lot of people are automatically turned off by that. But just wait, we'll get to that, and I promise you it's worth staying until the end to figure that out. Now, this is really what caught my attention first. Now, let's just ignore the fact that it's Bushy-Road. You guys know that I have a love-hate with some of the stuff that they've done. They haven't got a lot of the stuff right every now and then. But Mike Elliott. Now, I know a lot of you people are like, so what? All right, the guy's worked on Dice Masters, Thunderstorm. He's, obviously are going to be the lead designer for this, but he's worked on Duel Masters. He's worked on Battle Spirits. He's worked on some Magic the Gathering sets, for crying out loud. Like, this guy has experience and has done a lot in the trading card game world. So he is bringing just a tome of knowledge with him to game design and game theory and balancing these games. And it just speaks so much to what he can bring to this game that gets me so excited. So as soon as they said Mike Elliott, and he also did Quarriors, which isn't listed here, which kind of makes me bummed out because it's one of my favorite tabletop games, as a side note. But again, this guy just has so much talent behind him that anytime that his name is attached to something is absolutely worth checking out. And he's won a ton of different awards for Thunderstone and some of his other tabletop games. Even Quarriors has won a few, if I'm not mistaken. So there are some other teams that are working on this, and I don't have as much history as those other players, so I can't really speak to that. But they did pull in an animation director who apparently worked on One Punch Man. So there is going to be I don't remember if it's a mini series or just something that goes along with the sets as a release, but there is going to be an anime tied to this as well. We don't know if it's going to be a full-fledged season or what yet. I don't think those details have been shared, but get hype. The designer is absolutely worth sticking around, checking it out, and getting your chance to get it. So the other thing you really want to know at a high level, like what is the story about? So to boil this down as simplistic as I can, there was this one super awesome dragon. He was, basically the god of this world, and he's like, all right, man, I'm dead. I got to go on. I got to split up my power. And these were the 5 nation leaders who got the power to then go on and fight for, whatever each one of them believes in. So that's going to be the 5 different nations. Each of those symbols are across the bottom. And yes, it does play a lot into the magic color wheel, if you will, because with the demo decks, which you'll see in our video, that's going to be going live tomorrow. It might be a little bit late, but it's going up. Light or Logris, and I'm going to butcher these names, is all about like the White Weenie Plant and some buffing spells. Turna Nog is all about these beefy elves, beastly dudes, all, your green stompy. Alois, which we haven't seen yet, but from what we can gather is all about advancement and research in these robots that look awesome. I am so excited that Blue is finally getting some sweet art in a card game. Taurus, I believe how I pronounce that. That warlord dude, he is just a meanie. You'll see him in the anime. If you go to Dragoborne.com, you can see like the teaser trailer that they have for it. This guy's all about just getting in your face, beating you down, all military, all the time. And his red cards are very much that what you would expect. And then Niflheim is all going to be about the undead. And unfortunately, this one isn't in the demo decks either, but from what we can gather of it, and Abyss Lord honestly gives a bit to that as well, it's going to be all about the undead armies, recursion, and that kind of stuff. So we are super excited to see how these different ones develop. And as you can kind of tell, the artwork is really, really good for this. And that's honestly a huge selling point as well for me. Now, just some additional artwork here. And I'm not biased at all, but many of you know that I do play Magic, or I try to play Magic as my main game. It's my background is in, done well in some events. But when you mentioned Steve Argyle and I saw that, I'm like, that artwork looks kind of familiar. And, you know, I'm terrible with artist names, like in terms of remembering them outside of like name to name, but I know I was like, oh, this artwork, I've seen this before. Is it Liliana? Then who did it? And I saw this and I was like, oh shit, this is a big deal. And then Jason Felix, I believe it was. Again, terrible with names, but it's Creeping Tar Pit, which is one of my favorite cards from Modern. So I'm super excited. He would also just had a spoiler card. So Bushiroad, what is going on? You have two major Magic the Gathering artists that are signed on for your game, and I think we're only 40 out of 120 card art spoiled. Actually, not counting the starters. That's just for the first set. So there's a lot more awesome stuff coming, and the artwork in this game is amazing. Now, I know a lot of you have already said, oh man, well, what about Luck and Logic? That game died. That stinked. You know, Bushiroad really screwed up. All right, let's cut that line right here. I played Luck and Logic until it died. It died in the English version. I thought it was great. I did love the game, but the art. You could not have that art and expect it to sell well in America. Bushiroad, come on. Now, from what we know, it sounds like a few people were let go, unfortunately, from Bushiroad after the Luck and Logic, you know, debacle. For those that are kind of following and hear some things through the grape leaves. So that line of communication came down and makes a lot more sense. But if you look to this artwork, and there are a lot of females who, surprise, have clothing on in this game that I think is going to help it sell a lot better. Now, I've already talked to a couple different stores that said, you know, and especially with Luck and Logic and some of the other Bushiroad games, like, I just can't sell it in my store. I have kids that come in, you know, who are really big onto Pokemon, and I don't even want people opening this product in my store because of the artwork. So again, I was talking, huge shout out to Rob Gruber. He's just been an amazing guy and does so much for his community. But he's like, you know what? I can get behind this artwork. This is good, and I can have this in my store. Yes, it is more towards a mature audience, and Bushiroad has said that up front, but it does it in a very tasteful manner, and I cannot stress how important that is. So again, artwork, absolutely hitting a home run in this. I love it. Bushiroad, please, whatever you're doing, keep going in this direction because this game has a lot going for it. Of course, let's do some other highlight stuff. What does it play like? And all right, again, no surprise here. Mike Elliott comes from Duel Masters, and Duel Masters comes from Kaijudo. So really, if you're familiar with this game, it's going to feel very, very similar. Yes, there's a little bit more to it, but it is effectively Kaijudo / Duel Masters with dice. That is horrifyingly oversimplifying it, but if you've played those games, I think that's going to be the most fair comparison. And then the little note I have there is 6 shields. Yeah, you have 6 forts, shield blast, fort blast, and then you can see there at the bottom, yeah, it's literally shield blast or fort blast, and that's all that there is. And we haven't seen a lot on what different things that those will do. One of them does let you kill one of your opponent's stuff if you have a red die showing a number. The other one lets you play a guy for free. So it seems like there's going to be a lot of room for development on that. So again, if you liked either of these games, check out your local game shop, see if they have a demo. If they don't, get the print and play decks out of the North American group. Absolutely going to be a great resource for this game going forward. Now, this is a little bit busy, but this is the overall mat. So again, I want to just take a quick moment to highlight this area in here. So yes, it's broken up into these 3 different lanes, but the only thing that really matters is these ambushes, because you can only have one in front of each individual lane. And then your forts, you get 2 forts each per lane. Again, I'm always just going to slip up and play and say shields instead. Now, the one thing that is different, you know, outside the dice, because obviously that's going to be a new mechanic, but is ambush. Ambush lets you play these cards face down that are effectively trap cards, or if you've played Force of Will, they're really standbys is a more appropriate definition. You play 2 to put it face down, and for example, one of them is this really sweet spider out of the demo deck. When you block with your guy on a fort and it dies, you get to play that spider for free. There's also an ambush that's a trap. It's called Pyroclasm. You get to deal X damage to all the creatures on your opponent's fort based on X, where X is the red die showing. And that is a whole other synergy we'll talk about in the next video. But it really does add this layer to the game that is a very welcomed addition. And the thing that we're going to talk about in the next part here, but I want to point out, is these Drago shields. Now, again, a lot of you are, if you've made it this long, you're like, Matt, tell me more about the dice. Absolutely going to be getting into that now. Drago shields play a very critical role in why I think that the dice mechanic is perfectly fine the way that it is in this game. And if you look, you can place it as a defender to defend each one of your lanes. But that's only one of the many things that you can do with your dice. But I want to give you that kind of visual representation of where it goes in the field, and it can have up to 6 health. You know, it basically can help negate at least one attack from your opponent. So look, the dice, I get it. I played Star Wars Destiny. I've never played Dice Masters, I will say, but to give you my experience with dice, I am not allowed to play certain board games with my friends, namely Elder Signs or ones of that nature that are co-op, because I can't roll die to save my life. It is literally that bad. I tried Star Wars Destiny. They did have a nice mechanic where you would be able to modify your rolls in different ways, and I thought that was fine for what they were doing, but you can still roll blanks and feel terrible about it. In Dragoborne, there are no blanks. You have a 6-sided die. Sometimes you might be thinking, man, but I've only rolled a 1. What can I possibly do with this? This is terrible. No, that's not the case. So we've already talked about the Drago shield, which is the number one thing that you'll use your dice for early on. Again, it's going to be a shield, helps, you know, save one of your resource or save one of your forts, so you can be a little bit higher on life. Then you go, but Matt, I got a 6. Now, obviously that goes in defense, but what if I want to use it for a spell? Now, the thing that I really love about this, as we look at the blessing card here on the right, spells in this game just reference the dice. They won't use it. And now it gives you the option that says, hey, I rolled a 6. I get to give something +2/+2 and draw a card. Sweet. I get to draw a card. I'm going to buff something, you know, force my opponent that if he blocks, he's going to lose it, what have you. Or you go, oh man, I only rolled a 1 or a 2. Okay, that's still fine. Now I can give 2 creatures +2/+2 instead. And the way that you determine your dice is at the start of the game, you get 3 banners. It's any combination of the 5 colors that you want. So you could go, for example, 3 light banners, increase your odds of rolling with the dice. That is a whole other strategy discussion, which we'll probably have in another video, but I want to at least give you that foundation of knowledge so you'll know that's how it works. Drago Cross is the next one. So there is an option where if a creature has a special icon, and it's down here at the bottom, and it's a little bit hard to see in this, but it's a gray and the swords, a gray dragon and the swords cross it. That means if you put any dice on that card, she's going to get +1/+1. What I also really like is there's some other effects that will say, if it's a yellow die specifically, your opponent must block this monster. So there's also then this whole other aspect of saying, okay, what am I using this for? Am I going to use it as a fort? Am I going to put it on a monster to give it +1/+1 as a static effect, which is another option? Or do I want to use a specific die on this specific creature to give it another enhancement? So again, imagine if that Harpy Huntress was that white symbol was red instead. She would get +1/+1 if you put any die on her, but then she would get +2/+2 if you gave her a red die. So again, there's in the game, at least with the demo decks, every time I'm rolling, I always have multiple things I can do with the dice, and it helps me strategically plan out my turn where, yes, you might be thinking, but I have to roll a dice, it's so random, it's awful. No, there are so many options that you can do that make it rewarding for strategically planning out your turn and knowing when to use those buff and when to use those spells. That said, we haven't seen a lot of the cards yet, but I very much expect the spells that have that 1 through 3 or 4 through 6 clause to be, I won't say mandatory, but a very key cornerstone of every single deck going forward, just because of how nice the utility is to have those split. And again, it's not like it's a bad effect. Yes, you can make the argument that sometimes you'll want to have, oh, I would have won if I got both +2/+2. Yeah, that's going to happen. You can say that in any card game about any chance, like, oh, if I would have just drew this card. I get that. But there's no downside to that card with rolling a 1, for example. There's no downside to rolling a 6. It's always good. And that, my friends, is what makes it such an interesting game that you just have to check out. So that is all I have for this very short video. Hopefully that gave you an idea, a little bit of a teaser of what's to come. Again, I'm going to be working with Jesse, from the owner from Siege Games, in terms of getting a live game up, so kind of talk through the turns, give you an idea of what it looks like, and then we're going to be setting up their YouTube page very, very soon to have more Dragoborne content. So again, if you like this video, guys, make sure to drop me a like down below. I'll drop a link in the comments to where the Facebook group is for the North America group. Again, if you're looking for any information at all on this game, 100% that is the best place to go to. Go to Dragoborne.com, see all the amazing stuff on there. And they have lore, so check that out too. Or hit us up on Facebook, and we're more than happy to talk to you guys in the community and help answer some of those questions you're having. So thank you very much for watching. I really hope you guys appreciated this. Again, really quick video just to get you some information about the game and learn more about it. And I really hope you'll check it out. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next 6 Sages Gaming. Have a good one.